So Mama Visa, we're back, and
Yeah, we are.
still all the updates. Today,
All
all the news tidbits I read this morning were on coronavirus.
Exactly. And I've got a question for all of us. How has your life changed, Roland, over the past couple of days?
I've become, even before the president made the announcement, I was a bit skeptical about drawing close to people. So I've become a bit skeptical about getting closer to the people usually I would get to. Yeah. And it's not that I socialize very often, so it's a big problem for me. Yeah.
Can we get our WhatsApp? And let's get the WhatsApp number on the screen. Let's see how things have changed for others. Yesterday, I was listening to people share their experiences. Somebody said she took a bath like 3 times or something in a day because, you know, each time when she went out, came back in, she had to wash down. I mean, people were sharing their scary experiences, how sometimes your mind just plays some tricks on you. Like, so there's something little happening to you and you feel like it could be the virus, like I have it, something like that.
Well, you know, because of the weather too, we tend to have flus or maybe some congested nostrils once in a while. So
Yeah.
it makes you feel, knowing or having become conversant with what the said symptoms are.
Yeah.
To have all these hallucinated thoughts, in my opinion. Yeah.
And of course, there are some of us who also take advantage of the situation and call our bosses or our offices and say, you know what, I have a flu and I'm coughing and you don't need me around.
Well,
so
I think those things are expected, but also we need to take such issues seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, especially now that, relatedly, in Accra and Kumasi, we have many firms, and even in Takoradi, many people working with firms that have a lot of people who travel, and we don't have to tag people because they travel or they are expatriates, etc. But now we have very good middle class people who travel. It's because if you look at
it's all over the
KPIs,
country, actually.
Yes, their job description, that's what they have to do. And they travel maybe to some other African country or some Southern African or Northern or Middle East, etc. And we have a lot of people dealing with such actions. Then we have to be more involved in their life, to ask questions, to get to know who they come into contact with, etc. Because in Africa, somebody of that sort is a breadwinner, and means that you have a lot of people milling around that person. And it's important that we take a lot of interest in what they do. They play critical roles in the church. They play critical roles in their old school associations and all that, residential. And I think that it even becomes more serious.
And for the teachers at home, because the children are not in school, let us know what you're doing. What are you doing? Like, how is your life? At least it was just yesterday, but how did you spend the day? How do you intend spending this day? How do you intend spending the rest of the 4 weeks that you have, at least for now, being at home? Let's do the newspapers.
We have to do. I asked my younger son, he asked me again, how many weeks are they supposed to? I said 4 weeks. He said he would feel bored.
Yeah,
that's what he said, because he was
so my kids' school, I think I'm really impressed with the way they've communicated. So on Friday they had given us a very detailed letter in terms of what they were doing because of the coronavirus, and they had you know, they knew the number of children who had traveled and the exact places that they had gone, and they knew what they would put in place, like what they have told them to do. But as soon as, of course, the president gave the directive, it changed everything, and it meant that no school. But yesterday, they managed to send parent text messages, and they said by Wednesday, which is tomorrow, we should pick up some assignments for the kids whilst they are home. And they're creating like a WhatsApp platform per class, so they can put the class assignments there. And I thought that's really, really impressive.
To keep the kids occupied.
Of course.
Nice.
And it's part of this. It's part of the semester. It's part of the semester. Let's do we're not talking about. We're just talking about how creative, you know, some schools, and big up to the school where my children are. I think they've done.
Won't happen. That's why
no, but listen, you may not have thought about it, but at least I have shared what one school is doing. You could copy it and do same.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. Don't be on the defensive. You started.
I'm not. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper.
His kids' school around the Spinter Sacramento area are doing it. So.
Yeah, lots of schools are being creative, which is very good. And some of them are also making it a part. So the 4 weeks is not a holiday. It's a holiday for the Easter, at least my kids' school. So when they go back, they write the exam and they continue with the rest of the, so they would have entered the third term, essentially. That's what it is.
Well, we have to do the newspaper, but from what you and Fred are saying, I'll go to my old school, Ashama number 4 junior secondary
and find out what they're doing, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
In this day of WhatsApp and social.
Yeah, but you're an old student. You've been blessed. So if they don't have that technology, you could make it happen. You could give them ideas.
Fantastic.
That's the whole thing. God didn't bless you so that you sit on the blessing. He blessed you so that you can go back and touch some lives and change something.
You're so much sensible.
Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper, yeah. But we'd like to hear from you on what you're doing. If you've been idle or if you're going to be idle, what are the other things that you're doing? The Daily Graphic newspaper front page. Mission hospitals face power disconnection. They owe between 3,000 Ghana cedis and 3 million Ghana cedis. Apart from the fact that people owe the power distribution company, there's been a lot of inconsistencies and either fluctuations in the power and no power at all in certain areas. Some complaining even for about a week. So there's something not correct with our power supply and we need some answers. Help contain spread of COVID-19. Mahama tells former appointees. Citizens step up measures against COVID-19 infection. COVID-19 opportunity to self-produce. The president meeting captains of pharmaceutical companies, managers of the central and commercial banks at the Jubilee House in Accra yesterday. And if you read the story, it will tell you how they were spaced in that hall, the processes that they went through, checking their temperatures, washing their hands, giving them sanitizers before they got seated for that meeting, and also that directive to the Bank of Ghana to help give some of them some funds so that they can produce some of the things that we need. President was talking about how heavily we are dependent on imports. That's been our story for such a long time, really. Would coronavirus force us to change something that we're doing? And the center spread, let's develop local industries in the wake of COVID-19. That's the chief executive officer of the Ghana Export Import Bank, Mr. Lawrence Ajinsam. He said the outbreak of the coronavirus, which has affected, of course, global trade and halted import, presented an opportunity for Ghana to develop its industries to meet local demands. Chief Imam supports ban on gatherings. That was in our news a while ago on the back page. MDAs institute rigorous hygiene systems. 3 more arrested in Soga copper murder. And it looks as if because of the coronavirus, some local issues we are not exactly highlighting, especially things that we were following before coronavirus actually got into our country. I think we've been very alert because it got into our country. We started recording cases. And so there's an update. The Kaswa police in the Central Region have arrested 3 more suspects in connection with the murder of the assemblyman for the Sogakope South electoral area, Mr. Mauli Ajahili, on March 1st. Suspects and their names are given, are believed to be involved in the murder of the assemblyman. They were arrested last Sunday from their hideouts at Obom, a suburb of Kaswa, following a tip-off. The arrest brings the number of suspects so far arrested in connection with the killing to 7, and it gives you a background of this situation as well. Let's continue with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page of the Times. Christians, Muslims join fight against COVID. And we've seen a lot of them issue statement. The Presbyterian Church, right on point, right after the president spoke, they issued a statement. We've seen the Catholic Bishops' Conference. We've seen the Methodist Church. We've seen the International Central Gospel Church also issuing a very extensive one. The Action Chapel. We've seen, so basically, we've seen the Chief Imam.
Church of Pentecost is supposed to have a press conference on interaction.
Ah, yes, today at 9 a.m. Exactly. So the churches have absolutely responded well to the directives given by the president. So, you know, the Ghanaian Times is reminding us of all the things that the Christians and the Muslims are doing, you know, to fight COVID-19. Coalition of CSOs call for termination of UNIPAS deal. This issue simply won't go away. Let's fight COVID-19 together. President task Ghanaians. COVID-19 outbreaks scare in Tema as patient desert hospital for home. That story is on page 18. Let's touch on that on page 18, or maybe we can go and come back. We'll share details of that. So let's do the back page. Work on 15.8 kilometer road project at Abirim begins. Queen Mothers, hey, is it Magajia? Is it? I didn't think.
Magajia is like a market queen.
I know, but I didn't think we officially kind of use it. Build capacities to end child marriage and teenage pregnancy. So that's impressive. Let's finish off the Finder. Front page of the Finder, COVID-19 to fuel local production to reduce import dependency. That's according to the president. Chief Imam tells Muslims to abide by president's directive on COVID-19. One Ghana movement calls for sanctions against self-quarantine evaders and 30 people in self-isolation over Obuasi COVID-19 case. I'll come back and share a bit of details on this as well. Roland.
Now let's go to the Daily Guide. It has on the front page, coronavirus locks us down, be innovative. Okay, coronavirus locks us down, be innovative. That's coming from the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So Gakopo Assemblyman's killers nabbed. I have pictures of 3 suspects, also on the front page. Meanwhile, on the side, Kwewu.
Oh, Charlie.
So, there's some small little business going around with the service providers, vendors around here. So, Charlie. Okay, Opudi trial, not political, according to the judge. The judge, let me see the judge's name. So, a Court of Appeal judge, Justice Clemens Hunyanuga, says he's taken aback by a decision of the former Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Stephen Opudi, to politicize his trial, which is before an Accra High Court. Now, according to him, the case before the court is purely based on the charges preferred against him and has nothing to do with party politics, as is being alleged by the former CEO, who is facing charges of causing financial loss to the state during his time as the Cocoa Board Chief Executive. Now, this was contained in Justice Hunyanuga's ruling on an application filed by Dr. Oponi asking the judge to recuse himself from the trial due to certain comments the judge made during a traditional program in the Volta region. Okay, so you get more details in there. Alima launches gender equality project. It's up there on the back page. Ajiman Bedu bemoans COVID-19 joke. And he plays for Hellas Verona. On the side, we also do have other story. Meanwhile, the GFA suspension of the league is fully captured on the sports page of the Daily Guide. Ronaldo, meanwhile, extends his Juventus contract to 2024. We already do know that it will take him beyond his 39th birthday. It's a very strong man. He earns £500,000 a week. Jesus Christ of Bethlehem. Right.
Yeah.
We have Cristiano Ronaldo. Good morning. Breakfast. I said breakfast. Business and Financial Times. Business and Financial.
This is your bad mind.
500,000.
It's your bad mind. It's your corrupt mind. Your money mind.
500. Business and Financial Times. Coronavirus banks direct customers to digital platforms. Please, it's on the front page. Read it. Business and Financial Times.
Yeah, but it didn't say breakfast.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Don't bring it up. Banks direct customers to digital platforms. Yeah, it's a way to go. One of these we'll take.
Roland, move on. If you had a lot of money, like you'd go. Move on.
Bank of Ghana cautions against panic withdrawals. Bank of Ghana pushes banks to stop ATM. Charlie, but a very enlightening story.
Pushes banks to stop ATM. Is that what you said?
To stock.
Okay.
ATMs with money.
And then I think they should have the sanitizers at the ATM machine. I went to my bank yesterday. I was expecting. Oh, I don't think it's fair to mention because there's even one across. They don't have the hand sanitizers at the ATM.
No, they didn't have it because I know you as Magaja. You would have mentioned it if they had it.
No, they don't have it. That's what I'm saying, at the ATM.
So that's what you're referring to.
No. But I recognize that
if they had it, you would have mentioned it, right?
No, but I also recognize that they're not the only ones.
Not the ones.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they need it at the ATM because it's the real fingers that you have to use in those touch ones for you to be able to for you to access
too,
exactly. So they need a No. Move on.
No, I'm coming to read the story.
You are done, aren't you?
Shame on no.
Okay.
Shame on you. A story which I feel is commendable is one related to public health and sanitation, and it says Harvard University holds an inaugural Joseph Sian Ejapon Distinguished Lecture on Public Health in Africa. And if you zoom in to that story, it's down there. You have a picture of Dr. Joseph Sian Ejapon being presented with an award as well. And, you know, Harvard University having a whole inaugural public lecture in honor of this great man, you know, a chief executive officer, executive chairman, Jospon Group. A very good investor. You know. Depositors solidify confidence in banking sector as domestic mobilization hits 99% of total revenue. We also have Unipass deal, a total rip-off. Coalition of CSOs are claiming it's already been deployed. So I don't know what they are talking about, right? It's still on. But Salifu Combat, you're in Boko. You operate the combat pharmacy.
Is he also holding the sanitizers in Boko?
He's actually giving some out freely. Salifu Combat and your wife Flora.
But listen, the good work you're doing. Shame on all the outlets who have inflated their prices. Shame on you. You call yourself God-loving people. You are praying because you are afraid of this virus. You are praying. You are pretending. You're pretending to be. See, God will pretend to hear you, and you've inflated your prices. You call yourself Christians and Muslims, and then you've inflated your prices. So, you know, that's why you were not paying to go to heaven. Because if we're paying to go to heaven, then most of us will not go, just because we won't have enough money to make it to heaven. This is a time when you have to show love, which means if you can even give for free, give it out for free. And you've inflated. Shame on all those outlets who have intentionally, because of the fact that people are looking for the sanitizers, you know, everybody needs it. And if everybody needs it and the thing is 5 cedis and you're suddenly selling it for 30 cedis, how do people afford? And I think people should begin to reflect. Meanwhile, you are scared, you are afraid, you are afraid because of the virus, and you're praying and you're whatever. God will pretend to hear you. Amen. Okay, we have to do my job online.
Presbyterian preaching.
No, but I think it's selfish. I think it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong that at a time when in places, we hear about places elsewhere where people are just producing it and giving it out. And you're selling. We're not asking you to give it to us for free, but you've just decided to inflate the prices. Like, shame on you. How do ordinary people afford something that we all need at this time? Do you get what I mean? Do you feel me? You should.
Yeah, I think
I promise.
I empathize with your situation. But
you empathize with my situation. Yeah, it's our Ghanaian situation. No. That's what it is.
This is pure dynamics of market force.
So don't comment on my comments. Let me do the story. I said I'll give a certain updates just before we go. And then people have also shared messages. So you will share the messages. A bit of details. So in the Ghanaian Times newspaper on page 18, they say a 41-year-old Ghanaian male who reported sick at the Tema General Hospital on March 14, and his samples tested positive for coronavirus at Noguchi Memorial Research Institute, is alleged to be at home in Tema Community 12 on self-quarantine instead of the hospital, designed for the containment and treatment of the disease. His case was detected at the hospital on Saturday after showing signs and symptoms following his return from Germany. So a source close to the hospital said the patient refused to lay in the isolation ward because he said the place was very hot and had a small bathroom and toilet, and opted to be quarantined and treated at home. So yes, so the Tema General Hospital is one of 2 already designated centers, so they give a certain background to it. But I wanted to box it with the finder on page 16, and then Roland, you said you have a backstory. On page 16 in the finder, it says health authorities in the Ashanti region have directed 30 people who have come into contact with the COVID-19 victim in Obuasi to go into self-isolation as part of measures to curtail the spread of the virus. All such people are being closely monitored by health professionals to determine whether they have been infected in the next 14 days. So Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrine, the Regional Director of Health Services, who announced this in Kumasi, said there was no need for fear and panic as authorities put measures in place to contain the virus. Okay, Roland, what's your backstory?
Oh, I said I'm familiar with that.
Or the person who returned from Germany. Yeah. So it's true, he went back home to self.
Well, yeah, he drove back home.
But the hospital, as in the doctors know where he lives. Is that it?
I think they should know. Yes.
So they are he's under their care even though he's home.
Well, in a Ghanaian situation, I don't know whether that's possible. Yes, sort of they are monitoring him because he's
because
a special case, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's different in terms of the Kumasi case, where these 30 people came into contact. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they have it. So they should self-isolate, which means monitor yourself, you know, take all the precautions, drink plenty of water, and, you know, that kind of thing. However, this person has tested positive, so that's different, isn't it?
Yes,
okay.
That's different.
So we'll ask all the necessary questions and see if we can get...
But he came to the hospital voluntarily.
Yes, except that he didn't like the condition.
He wouldn't like it. It's a Ghana hospital. Public.
What do you mean by he won't like it? Yeah. Let's do the messages, yes.
Sheila Kufodia, you said good morning, Walker and Mamavi. Some teachers are in schools to prepare our BEC and WAEC candidates. We pray they don't get into contact with the virus. You're protected. In the name
of not Jesus. All teachers are home.
No.
All right.
No. Okay. So, Mamavi, good morning.
Morning.
I think you need to say it again for the invitation of sanitizers. Ghanaians are too hypocritical. Hey. While others are dying, others are taking undue advantage.
Yeah.
Joe Emick, big up to Sinapi Abba staff.
Shame on all of us when we are supposed to be caring for one another.
Okay.
We're hoarding.
All shall pass from Ninahin Ashanti region. However, you say, Roland, please tell the National Identification Authority to stop the registration process in the Eastern region.
Well, I mean, they put in some directives and guidelines, right? We've got to see what it is that they've, if the directives that's been issued is what is being followed duly on the ground, and I don't think we should be afraid.
Great. Roland and Marve, kindly read mine. And this is the last one. I am Seth. I'm a teacher in the Central Region. Seth, thank you. Bremain Bedum Catholic Senior High School. We had a meeting yesterday, so we decided on some special arrangement to meet the JHS 3 students. A different timetable has been drawn for them. Intensive classes start this morning. And Mama B is also advising you put together WhatsApp groups so that you don't...
I beg you, I'm not advising anybody.
You say your children international school. Oh, now I'm disappointed.
You know, you have a way of twisting people's words, particularly mine. So don't talk for me, I'm here. I can speak for myself.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't say what you just said.
I apologize.
Okay, so we have plenty more messages. I think there are people saying it's boring, like just sitting at home, but they will just because of the coronavirus. We'll come back and share a lot more.
They should be watching us. We'll give them all the...
We'll come back and share a lot more of your messages. So just keep them coming through. Tell us how you are feeling, you know, what you're doing to occupy yourself, especially if you fall into that category of people who are home for the next 4 weeks.
I agree.
Yeah. But we'll bring you sports. What is even happening in the world of sports?
Nothing. Everything is being stopped. Preparations for the Olympics in Japan, etc., are not taking place.
Yeah, there's the Euro 2020.
That's likely to be cancelled.
Yeah.
All right, so we have to go to Benedict also with the latest. Do stay with us.